Regie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is the Sunday Ready, Set, Go preview show. This is a show that we do every single week and have been doing for 140 some odd weeks because it gives us an opportunity to come together as a comic book community and spend some time talking about some things that are on my mind and might also be on your mind. And as part of that, I give you a preview of some of the content that is going to be released from the channel in the upcoming week. And generally, we have a really fantastic time together, and fingers crossed that tonight is going to be no different than the other nights in which we've actually done this. I'm going to switch things up tonight, and we're going to spend some time actually just doing some audience-driven responses. And so over the last couple of days, I put a few posts up on Instagram asking for people to send in questions that they might have for me. And I'm going to be responding to those questions. I have 3 pages of questions here in front of me, but I'm also going to be going to the chat here momentarily to basically riff on whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. I have no clue where the conversation is going to go other than, of course, the questions that are in front of me. I don't know where the live audience is actually going to take it, but if you are in the live chat right now, I want to say thank you for showing up tonight to spend a little bit of time with me. Before we get to the questions, I wanted to give you guys a preview of some of the content that is going to be coming out from the channel this week. We are headed towards Halloween. But we're going to be releasing, I think, a couple of cool videos here. Let me first talk about the blog post. There was a blog post that my buddy Doug wrote that is going to be dropping this coming Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is on the zombie apocalypse. I wanted to call special attention to that. In addition to that blog post, there's going to be a podcast that is going to be released on Monday at 10 a.m. You can take some Regie on the go on your favorite podcasting platform. Doesn't matter what it is. If you search for Regie Collects, you will find it. In addition to those 2 things, there's going to be some good videos that are going to be released. I had a trading card collection as a kid. I'm going to be releasing a video showing you guys my trading card collection from back in the day. I found some really cool keys in the 100K collection. I'll be showing you those cool books that I picked up. In addition to that, there is an awesome comic haul that I will share with you guys. And then we're also going to have the Comics Today show on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will probably have 2 or 3 guests on the Wednesday show. One person has reached out to me asking to be on the show. He's been on the show before. He has an important activity event, if you will, that is actually about to kick off, if it hasn't already kicked off. So we may try to get him on the show in addition to a few other people to talk about some things, some news and current events. So if you guys are interested, some cool videos that are going to be coming out this week. I hope you guys will tune in for that content. With that, I am going to go to the chat real quick to give a couple of shout outs here. My man Squirrel Madness is in here. How you doing, brother? Hey, technically, we may have had the zombie apocalypse. 24 months ago. Check the facts. I don't know. It seems interesting. Doug is in here. How you doing? My man Matt Woods Comics is in the house. It's good to see you, brother. Brian is up in here. LCS, how you doing, my friend? My Canadian brother Mark Andrews is in the house. It is good to see you, Jim. How you doing, brother? Steve White is in here. My man Jeffrey and the almighty Liger King is in the house. Pretty fly for a Filipino guy. My man Chris Bigger, it's good to see you. Action Figure Comedy is in the house. And the OG Blue Wrench. Tina, how many wrenches do you have at this point? How many wrenches do you have, Tina? It is good to see you. Climbing Comics, my man Alan. If you guys missed Wednesday show, this is one of my guests that was on the Wednesday show that represented himself incredibly well as we talked through a series of morality dilemmas that people could find themselves in. He did a wonderful job. My man Vox is in here. How you doing, brother? Ken is in here. Scrolling through some of the comments. Homegrown Comics is in the house. Randy Snake Double R is in the house. It's good to see you, my man Joe. How you doing? Paul is in the house. A lot of really wonderful people. She says 6, I think. Tina, when you can't remember how many wrenches you have, you know that you are the OG, my friend. I definitely appreciate you. Every single live show you tune in and you are here to support, and I absolutely appreciate that. For those folks that are coming in a little late, we are going to do some rip and response, which is basically a fancy term for doing a Q&A. So if you guys have questions, it will help me greatly as you see me blink multiple times trying to clear up my dirty contact lens. Throw it up in all if you have questions for me, throw it up in all caps. It helps me to see comments like this. Hey, man, I think I was asking a couple of tough questions. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would not necessarily want to be on the receiving end of some of my questions. I'm gonna be honest with you because moral dilemma questions are really, really tough. Like you are trying to juggle a lot of stuff, right? You're trying to juggle right and wrong. How should I phrase this? How do I articulate it to a live audience? I don't even know what Reggie just asked me, but I need to give a response in real time because there's a bunch of people. Like there's a lot of pressure. And each one of my guests that came on Wednesday's show represented themselves incredibly well. I am so thankful that I have a group of people that I can go to have on the show that show up prepared and deliver. And I am very thankful for all of those people. Hey, people knew the topic. Okay. First of all, people knew the topic. Just like my rim is a 7.5-foot rim, which is regulation for middle school girls. Leave me alone. Moral dilemma was always a consideration when I cross-examined. Hey, man, I'm telling you, Joe, those are really, really tough questions, man. I'm going to tell you right there. What is that? Did Blue Ocean winner get announced yet? Yeah, you did miss that video, my friend Vox. We typically announce the Blue Ocean winners, and most winners, by and large, are now done on Wednesday. For that live show, we did announce the winner. I think it was Chris Verde. Chris Verde was the winner. I do believe and I'm waiting for the guys at Shortbox to get back to me because they were at Baltimore Comic-Con this weekend. Super busy, waiting for them to get back. But yeah, I'm not a hard case. I'm a good guy. I'm a wonderful guy. A-type personality. A lot of people don't see that, but definitely an A-type personality. All right, so let's move on. Let me, and again, you guys are going to be driving this conversation. So we're going to talk about whatever it is. Scuba jumped up in here on the Instagram machine and he said, just wanted to say what's up and have a good day. Scuba, I had a good day. Thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. Long Box Lounge asked me a question as to what are the top 3 grails that are in my collection. I will tell you, Long Box Lounge, that is a very, very easy question. It depends upon the last book that I bought. The last book that I bought is my favorite book. No. So it is probably AF-15 is probably one of them. X-Men 1 is probably another, and Fantastic Four issue number 1. Like it's super easy to say those books because they are classic, iconic books. And X-Men and ASM are just my favorites that go back to my childhood, right? So those are super easy. I picked FF1 because it is just an important Silver Age comic. It is an important comic for Marvel. It is an important comic for Stan Lee. It is an important comic for the history of comics, especially at Marvel, superhero comics. So that book has to be thrown in there, and I'm definitely very pleased to have those 3 books in my collection. To be honest with you, those are just easy books. If you started to go levels down from that, I think it might get a little more challenging, but those 3 are super easy for me to kind of riff off. Let me look at the chat real quick. X-Men, he says, Steve White, I will get to that question. Bear with me, brother. And if I don't, Steve, get to that question in about 4 minutes, please remind me. What did the brother? Come on, man. William, come on, brother. Come on. AF-15 is a 1.0. Fantastic Four is a 3.0. X-Men 1 is a 5.0. I think that is correct. Occasionally I do lie, mostly just because I forget. Number 4 has to be Dark. What about, hey, yes. If you had to put me on the spot to rip off my top like 1,000 comics, then Turok #1 would be 1,001 on that list. All right, so scrolling down through, Almighty Liar King says X-Men #1 is my girl. So glad that I got that 2 years back. That's what's up, man. Man, those books, the book, I looked at the price of one of my books. I think it was AF15. I actually joined Golden Age Guru's live stream. He was doing a claim sale the other day with a couple of YouTubers, including Comic Tom, and he made a joke about if I wanted to sell back my AF15, because I actually bought my AF15 during one of his live shows, and I was like trying to get in and get out super quick because I didn't want people to know that I bought the comic, because I wanted to announce it on my channel. So I was like in and out super quick. But he was like, "Hey, if you want to sell it back." I actually looked at the value of that comic, and it has gone up dramatically from when I bought AF15 not that long ago to where it is right now. It has gone up dramatically. So there was a question here from someone, and I guess it's okay. I'm going to actually not call out people's names because I don't know if people want their names to be out there, so I won't do that. But somebody asked me a question. They said, how did you acquire sponsors for your channel? Did they contact you or vice versa? What I will say to you is, before I actually started to go after sponsors, I asked myself a bunch of questions. Like, what is it that a sponsor would actually want from me? Like, what do they actually need, right? By and large, what advertisers and sponsors are paying for is an audience. They are paying for eyeballs. They are paying for trust. They are paying for relationships that exist between a person and a group of people, right? An ability to have that relationship, and to some degree or another to activate and or at least access that audience, right? So long before I ever went to anyone about sponsorship, I tried to like figure out what it is that I was actually going to offer them, right? And my goal, by and large, was always to build my audience, not necessarily for sponsors, but because I felt like I had a point of view. I felt like I had something to say. I felt like I had something to offer, right? And so I created content. I came up with a brand. I came up with a voice. I came up with a mission for my channel. And in doing that, I developed an audience, right? An audience that tunes in, that trusts me, that reaches out to me for advice. Once I had that, then I started to put together offer letters where I introduced myself to sponsors to say, hey, here is who I am. Here is what I offer. Here are some statistics on my channel. Might you be interested in developing a relationship? Now, the important thing is that I didn't blindly send those out. I sent those to people, to companies that I had relationships with, products and services that I was already using, that I was already familiar with. That way, I did not have to fake it because I was already familiar with these services, right? So that's how I started the ball rolling. Here's who I am. And I think my first line was all, or something was along all the lines of, no, my name is Regie. I run a small YouTube channel, small yet growing YouTube channel called Regie Collects. And then I would list in there statistics for my channel, and I would offer up and like follow-up messages if they were indeed interested. Here are some things that we could potentially do together, right? Some different sponsorship opportunities. So hopefully that helps this person understand that it was initially me going out to these companies, but now it is a little bit of both. There are companies that come to me looking for opportunities to work with me, and I think that that's a really wonderful thing. But then it's also me going to different companies saying, hey, here's who I am. Are you interested in working together? Here's how we might be able to work together. And I will tell you for a fact that I turned down a healthy number of opportunities because there are a lot of people out there trying to access your audience, but it doesn't always fit. It's not always a good fit. Like when somebody invites you to come on their channel or their Instagram page or whatever it is, it's not always a good fit. So you cannot say yes to everything. You have to turn some stuff down. If you have a vision for your channel, if you know your audience, you have the ability to look at the opportunity and say, does this make sense for my audience? Is my audience going to be receptive to this? Are they going to buy this? If they buy this in the sense of, is this authentic to me and to them and to the relationship that we have? If the answer is no, then you don't do it. So hopefully that helps. Kevin says, I think you're very honest and you give great advice, not only on comics, but life in general. I only talk about comics. Kevin, I don't know any life, anything. I just talk about comics. No, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I try to be a good person. And I say try because I think that it takes work, like a marriage. Good marriage doesn't just happen. You actually have to work at it. So I try to be a good person. I actively try to be a good person, which means that I think the relationships that I develop with people are actually legitimate relationships. And it's not this fake thing. People know if you reach out to me, you ask me a question, you send me a message, you get a response. You might not like the response, but you will get a response. And if you ask me a question, you're going to get an honest answer back. And again, you might not like it, but you will get it. For those people that are joining a little bit late, we are doing riff and response, which basically is like a Q&A. You ask me some questions, I respond to them. I have a ton of questions here, basically some thumbnails from Instagram where people submitted questions, and we are basically ripping through them. So far, I've already answered how it is that I went about getting sponsors, and then also the top 3 grails from my collection. So I'm looking at the chat here. I don't see any questions. Oh, wait a minute. There's a big one right there. Wow, that's a big one from Joseph. Let's look at this one. He says, Reggie, if someone had a book you were interested in and they were willing to give it to you for free, but the catch is you would have to watch a cartoon, would you do it? It depends upon how big of a book it is, okay? If it's a book that I'm not interested in, Joe, no. I mean, here's the thing. The tough thing for me is that I do have people reaching out that want to give me stuff, but they want to attach strings to it. And a lot of times I will say no, because I don't like to say that I'm going to do something and not be able to do that thing that I've committed to. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll have people that may reach out and be like, hey, I'm going to give you this, but I want you to do a dedicated video about just this thing. No, I'm not going to do that because I don't know what it is that you're sending me, and it might not warrant a full video. So no, I can't commit to that, you know? Now, as much as I don't like cartoons, if someone were to reach out to me and say, Reggie, I have Hulk 1 for you. All you have to do is watch a day of cartoons. I would ask what channel and when do you want me to start? That's actually a good question. It's actually a good question. What do I miss about California? Ooh. What do I miss about California? Nothing. Absolutely. All right. I think there are some. I miss my comic shops. That is an honest answer. The comic shop that I go to here in North Carolina, it's okay. It's not my comic shops. It's not my comic shops in California. I loved my comic shops and my comic shop owners. I love the ability to access some amazing comic shops. Even if they weren't my like dedicated comic shop, there were so many amazing shops in the Bay Area. I don't necessarily see that here. I went to a comic shop. I was hunting. I walked in. I didn't see much of anything at all. Much of anything at all. And I went there to spend money. I think I bought 2 books. Didn't even want them. I went to another store. You guys saw the video recently. It was the CGC unboxing video. I bought some stuff. It was cool stuff, but this was more like a resale shop. I had to really dig deep to spend some money. The shops here are not necessarily like there. So that's probably what I miss most about California. I will tell you, North Carolina is amazing. My parents were here today. They hung out for a couple of hours with us. My kids are playing soccer. They're having fun. We're not wearing these masks and all this kind of stuff. The air quality is not bad. We have an ample supply of water. The cost of living is slightly less expensive than California. The people are incredibly, incredibly nice. Man, North Carolina is amazing, 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 amazing. I could not stress that anymore. How much time, if any, do you spend watching other YouTube content? Little to none. So let me restate. When it comes to comic book content, little to none, right? I watch Comics Explained. I love some Comics Explained. I've watched him for years. I occasionally will tune into other people's live streams. I will watch other YouTube content related to like the entertainment industry. I like things that look inside of like business for like the music industry, the movie industry. I like business type of stuff, but when it comes to comic book content, not a whole lot. And there's a reason for that. It is not that I don't want to support people. It is honestly because there's only so many hours in a day. And because so much of what I do to some degree or another is dedicated to this channel and content for comics, I'm constantly thinking about comics that I sometimes need to set aside that and do something that I just enjoy for myself. You know what I'm saying? And even though I enjoy comics, it's still in the vein of what I do for the channel. So I have to separate these things so that I can have some downtime. Like I didn't read a whole lot of emails this weekend. I didn't read a whole lot of comics this weekend. I needed some downtime. So hopefully that helps. Again, if you guys throw it up in all caps, it will help me to see your questions. So I go to Rebel Base. Rebel Base is the comic shop where I have a pull list. Again, it's a fine comic shop. It's a fine comic shop, but it is not Crush Comics in Castro Valley. It is not Comic Figures and Addicts in Union City, California. It is not those shops. Cool shop, but it is not that. Scrolling down through some of the comments here. Let me see. I think I missed it. There was a good question. Steve is holding me to. Hey, bro, I respect it. For those that are coming in a little bit late, we are doing our riff and response. Basically, I'm responding to whatever it is that comes up over the course of this conversation. Basically, just Q&A, and I'm just having fun. So people seem to enjoy this. So we're going to keep it moving. So my man Steve and several other people have actually asked me a question here. There was a question that actually came in along the lines of this, and I'm actually trying to find the question as I'm scrolling through here right now, and I'm not. Oh yeah. There was a question here from Fat Dad Comics along this very same question. And the question was around paper supply. This is actually something that if you were paying attention on Instagram this weekend, I think it was on Friday, I recorded a very quick live stream talking about Slow City Blues, which is a book that I did a exclusive cover for to support some independent guys that were releasing their own comic. The comic was supposed to come out around the August timeframe, but it has been delayed. And in talking with them over the weekend, what they explained to me is that it's been delayed for a variety of reasons. There is a labor shortage overseas. There is a labor shortage here at the ports. There is also a paper shortage. And as a result of that, they have been a little challenged with getting this comic printed. They have basically said to me that they anticipate getting the comic for Slow City Blues in by Christmas. So fingers crossed that indeed does happen. But what that alludes to is the fact that there is a paper shortage, just like there is a plastic shortage. And you guys will see a video coming up where I'll actually be talking about that related to a third-party grading company. The delays are related to some degree to plastic, and stay tuned because we will talk about that. But this weekend, I think it was this weekend, it was also announced that Image Comics is no longer releasing later prints. So second, third plus prints. Image is basically saying, we're going to shut it down. We're going to do the responsible thing. It's hard to get these materials, so we're going to shut it down. This article right here on Bleeding Cool actually came out from the founder of Bleeding Cool, Rich Johnston. He basically wrote here that Image Comics has informed comic book retailers that they will no longer be publishing second, third, fourth printings of any title as a result of the printing and distribution issues, of which Bleeding Cool has been running extensive coverage as of late. And the article, actually, I think this is basically like an excerpt or a quote or something like that from Image, basically says, as of now, you are undoubtedly aware of the current shipping delays, supply chain crunches, and paper shortages are creating nationwide issues across many industries, and that impacts our industry too. I'm sure every publisher will have a different response to the crisis, but at Image, we are proactively streamlining our releases to reflect these circumstances. Starting now, and they put it in caps, so they are definitely serious about it. Starting now, And for the foreseeable future, there will be no second printings of any title. They also go in to talk about the fact that reorders could also be a challenge as well. What do I think of this? I think that this is par for the course to some degree or another. I think that it is par for the course. Stuff is hard to come by, man. Right? I mean, wood prices were up. Just the basic materials for construction were up. Everything is slightly more expensive because of the shortages. So I am not surprised that paper is also in short supply. The good thing here is that they can continue to put out first prints, which I think is good. Now, the question will become, will they have some challenges even with the first printings, with being able to have enough for the ongoing titles? My guess is that they are looking at their ability to access these raw materials. They are anticipating there being crunches and or delays. They are taking the appropriate steps to be responsive and responsible so that they can continue to release comics. So the question is, will we see this come from other publishers as well? Or do those other publishers who print in Canada, potentially at larger printing facilities, do they have the inventory to withstand the shortages that Image is being hit with right now, right? Because again, you have to think about it. Image puts out some amazing titles. Their paper quality is a little bit different than Marvel, right? We know, and even DC. We know that. I think Image has a pretty high standard for their paper quality, which I think is really wonderful. But the question is, will the big two, do the big two have enough inventory to manage through this? Only time will tell if they do. All right. There may be a golden age of low print books. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can make so bold of a statement as to say that, right? Because you have to remember, right now, your average print run for a comic, and I'm talking, I think in North America, is already about 25,000 copies, right? So that's your average print run right now. Again, in my head, they're probably taking steps so that print runs won't get super, super tiny. In my head, they would probably kill a title before they print a couple of a title that aren't going to sell. They're probably going to shift that paper and that inventory to another book like Walking Dead, which is probably going to sell incredibly well, right? Versus some of the other titles that are out there. So again, I'm spitballing here. Only time will tell. I'm the same guy that said Westerns weren't going to have a place. Now, almost every week I see a new Western comic that is coming out. That's all I'm saying to you. So who knows? Who knows? Shout out to everybody that's flowing in a little bit later. Shout out to everybody that's flowing in. We are spending some time doing some call and response. If you guys have questions for me, throw it up in all caps because that will help me to see it. There's a question here. If you went back in time, sub 100 YouTube subs, what advice would you give yourself? Well, first of all, sub 100, I was still doing fitness videos. So I probably would say to myself, you need to go back to collecting comics and start the comic book collecting thing before Comic Tom and before Bueller. That way you could have a larger audience than both of those men, because clearly me starting a week or two after those gentlemen has hampered my growth. It has stunted my growth as the two of them have audiences larger than I. It is clearly a factor of the time at which the channels were started. That's all that I'm saying to you. If I had to go back and do it all over again, I would probably say to myself, hurry up and make a bunch of bad videos. Speed it up, make a bunch of bad videos so that you can find your authentic voice, so that you can find what it is that you actually offer to the comic book community. Forget about how you pronounce Thanos or Galactus, whatever it was that I think it was Galactus that I mispronounced early on, that just haunted me in my sleep. Get over it, move on, get through 100 really awful videos and start getting to making some really good content that resonates with people. That is the advice that I would give to myself. I had somebody reach out to me the other day and they said, you consistently take on topics that other people don't touch. It has taken me years to get to that point where I feel comfortable and confident enough to tackle some of those things. I didn't have that confidence when I first started the channel. I was still trying to figure out how to pronounce the words. Even to this day, people will type into the comments that I got something wrong. And does it bother me? It does. It honestly does bother me. But you know what? they're missing the point of the video because they're focusing on how I mispronounced something or how I got some tidbit wrong versus the overall context for the video. And to me, I don't focus on the tiny mistakes as best I can. I focus on, did people enjoy this? Did people learn something? Did I help somebody out there? Not did I pronounce every single word perfectly? That kind of stuff used to really eat at me. It bothers me now, but maybe not so much. So I would say to myself, hurry up, make a bunch of bad videos and get to some good stuff. Not that it's perfect now, but we're making progress. I mean, that's all that I can do is make some progress. All right, let me go. I try. Again, people ask really good questions, man. So Kimball is asking the question, what do I think? It was that the colorist. I would say I would say that that person had every right to not work on that book if they did not agree with what was being done. They have every right to not work on that book if they felt like that wasn't authentic to them. I respect it. I respect it. I don't know any other way. The wonderful thing is that this is America. And I am a lot of things, but I am also an American, and I believe in all of the liberties that we have as Americans. I love that stuff. And there's a reason why I respect the people that serve in the military so much, is because I am thankful for those individuals to be able to, because they protect our freedoms, right? You don't agree with something, that's cool. I'm cool with it. You know what I'm saying? So I respect that guy. Scrolling through, Steven, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that, my friend. I honestly try. I ask myself, why would somebody take the time to watch this video? Why would they watch this video? Right? And it's like, there has to be something in there for the viewer. And it doesn't always have to be information. It doesn't always have to be some heavy topic. It could just be fun. Infotainment, right? It is a mixture of entertainment and information. And if I get it right, it's a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? And maybe it's just us having some fun. Maybe it's just us having some fun. And at the end of the day, that it's like, that's what I'm trying to do. And hopefully that comes through when I'm sitting here being silly and laughing at you all's jokes. I'm honestly just having fun. I'm not pretending. I'm honestly having fun. And I think people appreciate that. There's a question here about the end goal with my 100K collection. Is it to bring it down to 10,000? No. What it is I have a YouTube channel. And on this YouTube channel, I create a lot of content every single week for people to be able to enjoy. And so I don't have a staff of writers. I don't have a big team of people that is creating content. I have a person or two. I have a person or two that creates some content for me. I have a couple of people that feed me information. But by and large, I have to produce this content myself. The 100K collection offers me a lot of stuff. It offers me a source of content for my channel. It offers me a source of revenue that gets turned into cash, which gets turned into comics, which gets turned into content for the channel. So I am 45 years old. I will milk this collection for as long as I can. If you tune in like 5 years from now, I'm gonna still be talking about the 100K collection, even if it's down to like 80,000. But the 100K collection, I bought it for a purpose. I bought it because it is probably a once in a lifetime thing. I bought it for the reasons that I just cited in order to generate more content for the channel. And as you guys see, it's constantly doing that. I mean, heck, we're doing Operation Hulk right now. We're doing dealing for keys to buy Hulk issue #1. When I bought the collection, I did not envision this video or this series of videos, yet here we are producing a series of videos in which I'm finding comics in the collection, selling those comics, and turning them into some really amazing comics. At the end of the day, what is my goal? My goal is to eventually leave this earth and not leave my wife or my children a ton of comics, right? That would be the goal, to whittle it down, to get it smaller so that it's more manageable for my kids and for my wife. That is my commitment. Now, when that happens, I mean, I've got 20 some odd years or more to whittle it down, and we are going to milk this thing for all that it's worth, because what else would I do? What else would I do? I mean, I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm thankful. I'm thankful that the family chose to sell me the collection. I am thankful for that, because they absolutely did not have to do that, but they trusted me to buy the collection, and I think it's well taken care of. I mean, you should see the racks you guys have seen the racks, but it's in a wonderful space. It has a wonderful dedicated space. It has its own room essentially. You can't go wrong with that. Let me see. Yeah. This guy says, what content? I don't know. Actually, we do have a series of videos that are coming out this week. We have a haul. Oh, I found some keys in the 100K collection that you guys are going to see. We're going to do a collection from my childhood, and then we have comics today. That is the content that I have planned for this upcoming week. Outside of that, you have to stay tuned for the video. Scrolling through the comments here, something is killing the wallet is the new boom title. How do I cut down on my weekly addiction? First, you have to admit that you have a problem. That is the first step to recovery, is admitting that you have a problem, which I believe that you have just done, my friend. The next step that you have to ask yourself is, are there books that are on your pull list that you don't read? Those will be some books that you cut, right? Are there books that you're not enjoying? If there are books that are on your list that you are not enjoying, then you have to cut them. The other thing I would say to you is, if you really want to cut down your list, you have to ask yourself what it is that you are actually trying to accomplish with your collection. Because my guess is that buying those individual issues is not necessarily fulfilling a larger objective, right? That's my assumption. That's my assumption. In my opinion, you have to have a goal that you are aiming for. In my mind, whenever I have a goal, I have no problem cutting out things that do not get me closer to achieving that goal. That's how my mind works. If I have a goal, I have no problem eliminating things that get in the way of that goal. Maybe you're the same way. If you don't have a goal, make a goal. Once you have a goal, look at the books that are on your pull list and ask yourself the questions I just asked. Does this help me to get to my goal? Are there books on here that I'm not reading? Are there books on here that I'm not enjoying? Those would be the books that I cut. You can also ask yourself, can I buy a digital version of this book and still get the enjoyment of reading that comic? Those are a couple of questions that I would offer up for you, my good friend. Scrolling through again, we are riffing. We are just riffing here. If there are questions that are coming up in the thing, that's what I'm doing now, trying to sell off 250,000 comic book collection. I would say to you, good luck to you, my friend. That is a large amount of books. I wish you all the luck in the world with making that kind of magic happen. And here you go. You now have a friend by the name of Thomas. Thomas wants to be your friend. Scrolling down through some of the comments. All right, I think I'm all caught up there. Looking through some of the other questions here. There's a question here. What is your determining factor for keeping a book raw versus slabs? I want to say I did a video on that recently, right? So I probably won't rip through this one all the way. But what I would say to you that you have to do is you have to look at the dollars and cents. For me, I look at the dollars and cents, right? What does it cost to ship, clean, press, grade, ship that comic, right? What is the value of that comic at the estimated grade that you think that book is going to get? If that delta is not positive, then that's probably a book that I won't grade, right? I would also look at the value of that book raw and figure out whether it even makes sense to get it clean, pressed, graded, all that kind of stuff, because you might be able to sell it raw and still be able to make some money off of it, right? So do the math, look at the data, right? I had somebody reach out to me that bought some books recently. They never looked at the pricing guide. They never looked at the value of the book in the pricing guide. I honestly don't know how you buy a comic or sell a comic without looking at something for pricing, whether it be eBay sold or Go Collect or Cover Price or comicspriceguide.com or GP analysis. In my mind, I don't know how you buy or sell a comic without referencing some type of data. Same way with grading a comic versus keeping it raw. You have to look at the data. And for me, like if I'm not going to be able to if I'm trying to make some money on the book, it has to be meaningful money. A delta for cost versus value of $100, I probably wouldn't do it. It's probably not going to be worth it, especially if you're sending it to a reputable, if you're sending it to like a CGC or CBCS, your value in terms of your time the dynamics can change dramatically by the time that that book actually comes back to you. And that $100 could be negative 100 by the time you actually get it back, right? So I think timing is also another important factor that you have to consider. And again, I think that there is a video on the channel that actually answers that question a little bit more detail. A person that asked it, if you want me to go in more detail or want that video, let me know, and maybe I can actually find it. Looking through, so there's a question here about, I don't really know what that means. I don't really know what that means. William, help me out, brother. You have to put some meat on that bone so that I understand it. Scrolling through some of the comments here, I think I'm all caught up. I'm not seeing any more caps. I'm going to go back to my questions over here. Besides the Nick Spencer ASM run, has any other comic story disappointed you? I would say, yeah, I would say a lot of what came out of Jonathan Hickman's X-Men revamp has been a disappointment. And if you guys remember, I was all in with Jonathan Hickman and what he was doing with the X-Men. Oh my goodness. It was such good writing, such good storytelling, thoroughly enjoyed it. And then it all kind of fizzled. It fizzled, it evaporated, it died on the vine, much like a rotten pumpkin. That I think that a lot of those stories just disappointed. Just disappointed. And that's why I stopped buying them. And you guys know I committed to the first 10 issues of like the Marauders and New Mutants and Fallen Angels, I think it was called, Excalibur, all of those titles. I was committed to the first 10 issues. When it reached 10, I cut a lot. And then as it continued on, I cut even more and more and more. And now I don't have any of them on a pull. None of them. Not a single Jonathan Hickman X-Men X title is on my pull list right now because I just found them to all be disappointing. If you enjoy them, you keep reading them. But for me, it just was not floating my boat anymore. So I had to step away from that one. Scrolling through, let me see. Scrolling through comments. Up to date data, cover price in eBay. There you go. Scrolling through scrolling through some of the, okay, I'm all caught up there. Wait a minute, hold on. Let me see. The Keys Comics is asking a question here. He started a YouTube. Can you tell me how to get involved on that good community Discord? I may want to join and bring content as well. So to join it, there is a link in the description of just about every video that comes out from the channel, I do believe. And there's a link in there to actually join the Discord. There is a welcome section. Once you join Discord, there's a welcome. You go there. There are some directions that are actually provided, some things that you have to do. Then you are admitted to the community, and then you are off and running. You are off and running. If you become a Patreon member at some point, Patreon members of a certain tier have access to a private chat on Discord as well. But the vast majority of what is there is free for everybody out there. So if you are unable to find that link, if you message me on Instagram, if you send me an email, or if you post a comment in the comment section when this video goes live, I will respond to you and provide you with that link. So there you go. And for those that don't know, we have a Discord. And it's basically where you can join, you can hang out, you can chat with other members of the Gibbon Gang and Comic Book Swoldiers. If you have a YouTube channel, we actually have a section. When you reach a certain level of involvement in the community, you have to apply. Lee Atkins is the person that moderates this whole thing. He will give you access and the ability to actually post your videos within the Discord, the specific room, so you can promote your content within the community. One of the other things that I will mention, I go back to a question that someone asked earlier about sponsorship. The thing that I will always tell people about sponsors, about t-shirts, about whatever it is, of variants, when you have an audience, you should assume that only about 10% of your audience is going to participate in something. So if you have an audience of 100 people, how many people are actually going to participate? If you have an audience of 10,000 people, how many are actually going to participate, right? And so over time, I think that my percentages, depending upon what I'm doing, will go from 10% to maybe as high as 20%. Depends upon what I'm doing. But you should never, ever assume that 100% of your people are going to be involved. Why do I bring this up? I bring it up because Discord is easy to set up. but keeping it going is a little bit of a chore. So instead of having people set up their own Discord, Lee Atkins came up with this idea of allowing people that have YouTube channels to post within our Discord to fuel this Discord instead of people trying to do their own thing and only getting 10% or less of their audience to actually get involved. So there is a reason for this. There's a method to it, but it also goes back to what is it that Reggie's trying to do? Foster community, have some fun, get involved, contribute. It all feeds into a larger theme if you take a step back and think about it. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Lee is a good dude, man. He is a good dude. What's the back wall theme today? The theme of that back wall is Halloween. Everything back there is essentially a horror story of some sort. And that is the theme that we are going to run with until probably the end of the month. What is the next theme? Because I saw someone else ask that question. Stay tuned for the video. We actually opened it up. We had a bunch of people make suggestions. The holiday wall, the yellow cover wall, those were all themes that have been suggested by subscribers. So what is the next one? Stay tuned, but it'll probably be something that someone else actually recommended already. How do I combat discouragement when I create content that does not get the feedback? So first of all, brother, I am in the same boat. Okay. I am not an expert when it comes to YouTube. I am not. There are videos that I put out on my channel that I'm like, this is a dope video that like a handful of people watch. There are videos that I create and I'm like, this video is okay, that people love. Like, I don't have it all figured out, but I will tell you that there are always naysayers whenever someone is trying to do something. And what I would say to you is, first, listen to what they have to say. When there are people that are pooping on your content, listen to what they have to say. And the reason for that is because when you strip away and filter through some of that vitriol, they may actually be helping you. They may actually be telling you what is wrong with your content. They may be actually helping you. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to they're not trying to help you. But within what they say, there are potentially some nuggets of truth that you can actually use to help yourself. Somebody basically told me a while ago, they were like, your thumbnails are ugly. And I don't know what's your video and what's not your video because your thumbnails are all over the place. And I was like, first of all, my thumbnails are dope. First of all, 2 months later, I was like, this person tried to help me. They tried to tell me my thumbnails were ugly. They tried to tell me that they couldn't separate my content from other content. You know what I did? I actually ended up hiring a consultant that gave me feedback on my channel. And you know, one of the things they recommended to me, you should change your thumbnails. And then somebody else also told me later on, because I changed my thumbnail after this person, but then they also, the consultant said, you should put your face on your thumbnail and you should use less words. Somebody else had told me you should put your face on your thumbnail. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that because I felt like putting me on there was too much. I felt like that wasn't like a humble thing to do. And so I resented it. I pushed back against it. Not resented. I resisted it. I pushed back against it. Consultant was like, you need to put your face on there. I started doing that. Video views actually started to go up as a result of that. People were able to identify my videos. I used less words, which kind of fit into the theme. And then I also put my face on there so people knew exactly which videos were my videos because they were looking at my mug. My point here is that some people that are pooping on your videos will actually give you some of the things that you actually need occasionally. Other people, other content, other comments, potentially not all that helpful, but you still have to read it and listen to it, because even those people that are like, hey, you did a good job, good video, that might not be what you need to hear. That might not be what you need to hear. Sometimes you need somebody to say, this is bad, this is wrong, you need to do it this way, think about this, because that's where the growth actually comes. And it is hard to hear. It is super hard to hear. Trust me. Scrolling through, scrolling through some of the comments, you'd be surprised where the best advice comes from. Yeah, that is true. And you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, Toe Man. There are comments that you leave on videos, bro, that I think is incredibly insightful. You leave some honestly some good comments on videos where you will say things that I want to say that I can't say, but then you say it, and I'm like, Toe man, you also see things in the videos that I want people to see. You get there, and I'm like, this I like this guy. Um, oh, you're awesome. What is that? Can you consider making an X-Men video of your favorite keys or books? Yeah, here's the thing. I don't know. I don't know because you have to think about it. Like you have to think about it. All I'm going to be doing is dusting off books that I've already shown in previous videos, right? So the question is, how entertaining would that video actually be of me dusting off old videos for, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have to think about that. Like, you have to think every book that I've purchased has been shown in a video already. And so the question is, if I made that video, how many people would actually be interested in actually watching that video in which I'm actually showing books that I've already shown before? These are the things you have to think about. What is the value to the viewer if I were to do that? Right. And I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying that we have to think about that I don't create content for a person. I create content for as many people as I possibly can because I think that there is an interest there. Now, that view or that group might only be 200 people, right? It could be a handful of people, but there has to be a group of people that will benefit from that. You know what I'm saying? What I would say to you is if you search on the channel for Regie Collects on YouTube, Regie Collects X-Men, how many videos would you actually find in which I already show X-Men books? That would be the question, because I think that there's probably a handful of them out there that you could check out. So do that, and then let's talk after that. Scrolling through the comments here. All right, I think I'm all caught up. All right. There's a question here. Can the speculator and collector truly coexist within you? I think that the collector and speculator actually already do exist within us all in many ways. And I say that because I actually did a survey about a year ago in which I asked people, are you a collector? Are you speculator? Are you investor? Like, what are you a reader? And when you look at the Venn diagram, what you see is that there are a lot of speculators, investors that are also collectors. These are not polar opposites, right? There are people that will speculate in comics using modern comics so that they can buy them, they can sell them, they can make some money, and then they go buy Silver Age comics. Technically, I do it. You know what I'm saying? Are there pure speculators out there? Yes, there are pure readers, there are pure collectors, there are pure everything. But a lot of us are a blend of these things all at the same time. That's why people oftentimes have PCs. You say you have a PC, right? Because you have some stuff that's not necessarily PC that you're kind of having the collection that you're maybe selling, that you're trying to get rid of, that you're holding on to until the time is right to actually sell it. So yes, I do believe that it exists. I do believe that a speculator and collector can coexist within a single person. I do believe that. There you go. Scrolling through some of the comments here. And again, if you guys have questions, throw it up for me in all caps because it actually helps me to be able to see some of these things because it's actually across the room from me, if you will, just a little bit, and the print is a little small. So throw it up in all caps because it will actually help me. A couple of duplicative questions here on my different printouts here. The thought on image not doing second printings, we talked about that. Let me see. We talked about the paper shortage. There's a question here about is there any newspaper strips you enjoyed? What I would say is I don't think that I've actually seen a physical newspaper in quite some time. For those people that are coming in a little bit late, we're doing rip and response. I'm basically responding to questions that are either on the sheets of paper in front of me or in the comment section. If you have questions, throw it up in all caps because it actually helps me to see a little bit better. And this is so true. I do only have one good eye. It is true. Chris Bigger's been around a long time. He knows I only have one good eye. So throw it up in all caps because it will help me to actually see it. So back in the day, I always read when I read the newspaper, I would read Spider-Man, I read Heathcliff, and I typically read the Peanuts. I would read the Charlie Brown stuff. Those were pretty much the only strips that are in my mind right now that I remember purposefully seeking out to read. I'm not a big cartoon kind of guy, whether you're talking about strips or cartoons. It's just not my jam. It's not my jam. People know that. And I think the person that asked this question knows that, which is why they put it in past tense as well, because they knew how I operate. So I respect that. What is the end game? The end game, and I think I've actually spoken about this before. My end game is to have the best Silver Age collection that I can possibly have, and I am well on my way there. I feel that I have a respectable Silver Age collection as it is, but my goal again is to have the best Silver Age collection that I possibly can have, and I'm pretty much there. In my mind, I need Hulk 1, and I'm pretty much there. I really am. I'm there. What I would say is, at the end of the day, I want to just have a really awesome collection of mostly Silver Age books. I will probably move into Golden Age books at some point. I will also probably start picking up some awesome Silver Age DC comics as well. And so it's not specific to Marvel. It will go to DC at some point. But I think that that's my goal. I think that my goal is to have just the best collection, a collection that I can be incredibly proud of, a collection that ultimately will be passed down to my children because it is written into my will as it is right now. But again, as I mentioned earlier in the show, I don't want to leave 100,000 comics for my family, right? The goal would be to leave this earth with the collection being a manageable size of just some amazing comics that my children can either treasure for a period of time or sell and buy a car or a house or whatever it is that they want to do with what it is that dad has accumulated over the decades to come. All right. So hopefully that helps. You got to dip your toe in golden. It's coming, brother. I'm gonna tell you, it is coming. It is coming. We are getting closer and closer to it. But as you guys know, I like to have a goal. My goal has been the Silver Age collection for Marvel specifically. But it is now, there are some DC books that are super attractive to me that I will get. And then I'm definitely going to be going after some Golden Age books, specifically some Human Torch. Some of the Schomburg covers featuring Human Torch and Submariner, just amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. When do you think CGC's turnaround time will get better? That's a wonderful question, brother. I don't know. And the question that we have to ask ourselves is, why does CGC have a tough turnaround right now? Is it what we alluded to a few moments ago? Is it tied potentially to supply, to inventory? Is it potentially tied to the inability for people to get plastics? Could it be that? Could it be the fact that they don't have enough plastic to encapsulate these books? I don't know. I'm honestly spitballing. I have no insight into turnaround times from CGC, but I have heard from a grading company that plastic has been in short supply as it relates to slabs, at least for this grading company, which has created some challenges. Could that be the case with CGC? I don't know. But I've been waiting for 2 steel doors for my house for several months. We've been waiting for couches that just arrived for several months. My ottoman has been on back order for several months. The lights for my pillars outside have been on back order for several months. The guy that is going to recaulk my windows on my entire house, I ordered the service months ago. It is not getting done until late November. Stuff is hard to come by. Could it all be tied together? So, all right. All right, cool. So let me see. With Miles Morales being such a hot character, do you think he deserves a better creative team? No, I don't. And I say that because if you've read, and this is my opinion, if you have read Miles Morales' title, the title is really well done. The writing is solid. The art is solid. I think that the creative team that is working on this book right now, in my opinion, understands Miles Morales. They are writing Miles Morales with an authentic voice that I honestly enjoy. So no, I don't think that Miles Morales needs an all-star team, right, of some heavy hitters and all that. The team that is working on this book is doing a really solid job. And I know that because I basically read the entire run and I enjoyed it. And I think that they're doing a good job. It never hurts, however, to have a guest artist do a cover or two that always has a little extra sizzle to it. But I think the creative team that is working on Miles Morales is honestly doing a really, really fantastic job. I think that they understand this character. They understand how to write him uniquely and different than the other characters that are out there. I think they're doing a fine, fantastic job. Question here, is Todd McFarlane starting to lay the groundwork for retirement? No. Todd McFarlane has been laying the groundwork for retirement. Todd McFarlane is a smart businessman that is building a legacy for himself and has been for quite some time with McFarlane Toys. And with the fact that if you think about it, this guy wasn't even writing Spawn or drawing Spawn for a very, very long period of time. Why? He was contracting it out to other people to keep the writing fresh, to keep the art fresh. He was still involved, of course, because it's his child, but he was letting other people kind of contribute to that and keep it going so that he can maybe recharge his batteries, so that he can maybe focus his attention on other things. But he is laying a wonderful foundation with this Spawn's universe stuff for some big things to come. Will Todd retire? I don't honestly see that happening anytime soon. That's just me. I think that he still has things that he wants to accomplish, still has things that he wants to do. And I think he is positioning himself to continue to execute upon the visions and the goals that he has for himself. So there you go. Hopefully that answers that question. What comic is your favorite in your collection that is not valuable or slabs? We've spoken about this before. It is X-Men 271, 272, around that range. It's just books from my childhood. Terror Inc. is another book. G.I. Joe Special Missions issue #1. These are all books that are like from my childhood. It is Hulk 377, signed by Dale Keown, if that's how you pronounce his last name. These are all books that readily come to mind, that remind me of my brother, that remind me of my childhood, that are not extremely valuable books, but are just awesome books to have in my collection. Don't ask me about Terror Inc. I don't know. I don't know. I actually found a copy of it in the 100K collection as well. Brought back a lot of memories from my childhood. So what's the best way to sell off filler comics within a collection? Sell them in bulk. Sell them in bulk. There are apps out there, and I actually have a video. If you search on YouTube, Regie collects resources. I have a video in which I rip through different resources that can help you. What I recommend, if you're trying to sell some stuff in bulk, sell it locally. I'm sorry, if you're selling filler books, sell them locally, sell them via apps, sell them in bulk, right? Buy a box for $50 or something like that. Move it on to somebody else, right? Sell it within the apps, like not Macari. You can use Macari, but I've never sold on Macari, so I don't want to offer that up. I've never actually found anything and bought it on Macari, so I want to offer that up. But people use Macari. You can use Craigslist still. You can use the marketplace because that's still a really hot place. Offer up, let go, merge. So one of those is the dominant one. Use that. Sell it locally. You don't have to pay shipping. You don't have to worry about bundling anything up. You can meet people. You can have them come to your house. They can take your stuff. Or you can donate stuff to library. You can take it to Goodwill. You can take a tax deduction. There's lots of ways to get rid of things that you don't necessarily want. Or you can leave it in a poly, put the top on the box, put the box in the closet. Leave it there because you don't know what the future holds. Trust me on that one. All right, scrolling through. Am I liking the new Go Collect update? I actually saw the new Go Collect update probably 5 months ago. I actually saw it about 5 months ago. I actually played around with the beta version of it in the Go Collect offices many months ago. I think that it is a good interface. I think that some of the things that they did to it, where you see like the 1 year trend, I can't remember all the dates. So you guys, like the current FMV 6 months ago, whatever the markers are, that trend line, if you will, is really awesome, right? There is some awesome functionality that has been added to Go Collect that I dig. Is it taking me some time to adjust to the changes? Yes, because things are not where they were before. So I'm trying to figure it out. So I think it's going to take time. But a lot of people reached out to me when they launched the new version. A lot of people were complaining, but they had to let the whole thing move over and migrate. And then I think people started to play around with it and started to realize that there's some cool stuff here, some new stuff, some functionality that is different that I think is really awesome. I think it'll continue to take time for people to adjust, especially as collectors. We don't like change. What has been your favorite independent title this year? There's a lot. Um, maybe Nice House on a Lake. Maybe no, yeah, maybe Nice House on a Lake. Is that indie? Is that no? That's not indie. That's DC. Um, Noctera's Image. That's not indie. I gotta think about that. I gotta think about that one because it's so hard. It's hard. I gotta think about that one. Um, Scrolling through, there you go. Donate to a children's hospital. There you go. That is not a bad way to go. That is not a bad way to go. I actually bundled up some books myself. What was that? I think it was in the early part of this year. Bundled up some books and sent them off to a children's hospital. So the Almighty Liger King, Macari isn't bad. I sell them there and eBay. There you go. That's what's up. Scrolling through some, got rid of Macari. That's like taking eBay off your phone, man. If you got a problem, you take it off of there because it will sing to you like a siren. It will sing to you like a siren. What has been your favorite segment to do? CGC, submissions, Blue Ocean Spec, dealing for keys. That's a good question. I would say I have a couple of favorites. The CGC top 10 submitted video is a fun video because I never know what the data is going to reveal. So that's a fun video. I enjoy that one. I enjoy the Dealing for Keys series because I think that is a video that has taken concepts and theories that have been presented in my previous videos and it's made them real. It's made those, even though those concepts have always been real for me, it's taken those concepts in the video and shown you all how I actually do it. That to me is an invaluable series. So I enjoy that. I enjoyed the big money buys. When we were doing, Doug and I were doing big money buys, I enjoyed that because there were some crazy amounts of money being spent on comics. So I enjoyed that series. I also enjoy those videos that have a blend of practical advice mixed with business and common sense. Those ones that are about comics but not about comics, I enjoy those videos. And when I take a step back from those, I enjoy them because it's about comics, but it's also acknowledging the fact that we as collectors aren't just collectors. We're fathers, we're husbands, we're business owners, we're employees, we're directors or VPs or whatever it is. We're multifaceted. And in these videos, they use comics as a backdrop, but some of what's in there is applicable to other aspects of life as well. And I enjoy having fun with those type of topics. So, so there's any idea when the Go Collect values will start updating again on CLZ? I would say reach out to CLZ. That's the best piece of advice that I can give. The way that I think that works is that Go Collect was, of course, very much focused on switching over all of their data from the old look and feel to the new look and feel. And now that I think that is done, they will then be, I'm guessing, switching over to hooking in those, or I'm sorry, putting back those hooks into the database that allow those values to come over to CLZ. The timing of that, I don't know. I mean, we got to think about it. They just launched the last version, like a week ago. So it probably is going to take time for that to happen. So I would say sit tight. That is probably going to be coming. That's my assumption. That is going to be coming. So good night for those folks that are bouncing out. I definitely appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with me. What was that? It would be interesting to know what everyone here does for a living. I will not ask people to do that, but I'm certain that people will go ahead and share some of that stuff with you guys. Scrolling back through the comments, seeing if there's other things. Okay, good. I think I'm all caught up. Let me look at my questions here to make sure that I've covered off on all of these questions, and I think that I have, except for that independent artist thing, which I still have not wrapped my mind around just yet. But yeah, I think I'm all caught up on that one. All right, so I think we're about to wrap up here. I'm gonna go back to the chat here real quick for a last round of questions. Another round of questions. Well done, brother. If you are a secret agent, I think your secret is now out, my friend. That's all I'm gonna say to you. All right, I think I'm all caught up. So again, for those folks that came in, we basically just did a riff and response, me responding to questions that you guys threw up and all in the chat here. So as a reminder, some good content that is going to be coming out from the channel this week. I have a haul video, found some cool keys in the 100K collection. I'm going to show you my card collection from my childhood. And then we also have comics today on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm glancing at the thing here. Yeah, I would say if you search on YouTube for Regie Collects Top 10 or Top 50, you will actually find a video in which I talk about some of my favorite artists. That's a topic that's been covered before. As you guys know, I don't really follow artists. Like, that's not my gig. I don't really follow artists. I follow characters more than I follow artists. I'm not necessarily a cover hunter, so that's not my jam. But I would say, again, if you search here on YouTube, you should be able to find a video in which I rip through some of those things that will hopefully answer that question right there. So, all right, there you go. And I think I recorded that video like 2 years ago or something like that. And I don't think that it's changed all that much, to be honest with you. I'm pretty consistent in a lot of respects. All right. So with that said, I'll see a lot of people bouncing out. I definitely get it. It's been a long night and I've gone a little bit over time. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this installment. I know that I enjoyed these impromptu kind of discussions, if you will, where there's no real plan. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out. I want to thank you for asking all of the wonderful questions. Don't be shy about going ahead and hitting that thumbs up button. And if you're watching this and you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I want to officially invite you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. That way you don't miss out on any of the content that I release from the channel every single week. If you need to reach out to me, you can do that on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.